0783480999 kose 0782490068. Nogani kukolerwa live streaming ase chipejo cha social media cha Getembe nubwate misangirikano ya gisiasha amatanga chinyangi chibirthday misangirikano yechikanisa baby shower anniversaries gose ekinyoro kinyomo inyangi usuko kwa kuyomino imijega ao bunabono housewarming parties engagement parties egatie binde bige bono Getembe Television Network nero ego kwayega ashirigo lidio gotugutera ninchwe omurikirwe ye masege munaba manyibaitabo bare no bamanyibiguro nigeti byetibwate signal ere enkongo iyigwikira abantu bange asubunge asamange onye kuganitie omurikirwe nabukulika jumbenge wigwitira semeria WhatsApp usiku ya Kisii migwitira namba 0741499726. Ine nuganeti konyora jisemi chingi ya chekerero Getembe Technical and Vocational College nero lichibu liao ase intake ya January yugendrete nigobakurwa chikusi ao mbabuate mechanical production, welding, automotive technology, fashion design, cosmetology, human resource management, office administration and secretarial, electrical engineering, civil engineering, building technology, masonry, plumbing, carpentry and joinery, ICT technician.
Samalieta ngo kwa Jackson omae igondo mwalimu kabere ase skulu ya Getembe Technical Vocational College ose deputy principal ase college ya Getembe Technical Vocational College is located as a Nyaliwari Masaba constituency, ward ya Gasusu, Karoweka as a junction ya Geteri. Aiga as a college yetu, abanafunzi tobwate chinjira mbalimbali tokubakonya ekwarama itenga abayigoli baito gotwara baro bwaba ase ngenjo ya school fees. Kero mwanafunzi ekira college yetu kubakonya tule kubaijuleria kusips ejie kuba funding kuruase serikali pamoja na funding kuruase high education loans board elinde banyaragora bagokora chikosi cyabo asobwororo na kutabukia kwirari bageri asengencho yo kwaligania abasaye baito pamoja na abayiboli bareta abana babo banyako bakonyora kiskiri ekira abakonye isikalia nwali intake intogendrete karibu
intake ya January nigo egendrete ayirira nigo bagutuka asensemo ya Nyaribari Masaba Getembe asamange bakire 0757331085 igose batalire ase website www.getembetvc.ac.ke Getembe Technical and Vocational College, scaling heights of technology.
Chitariki na mirongo hebere na isano na ibere umutinyi no mutangani umwaka no yugwechiri ibere mirongo ebere ne tano no mwanchu murigerere no kwegena mbyole andonsi asole na gukwanire abigo kanyunyora amangana maya Ekeonga Chinsa Ikomi cyabo no margoba litirane Cyrus Nyakundi asense meli bimenyerero na refenesa nyabuke na gusabire obena nje wikomoyo. Ochaka limo lioke eskuru ya bamura ya Nyakeiri ime bunge ya kitutu chache North Sub County ya Marani nigo yabwatu umuriro mu basolero nonya nabo ekiya cha kyumuriro yo wikaboniga te karamanyikana asomo director wechisemi me Sub County yo abaireka gwika hime yesukuru eyo nabo igokukwanira igoro y'omuriro yo igari yokolimi omuriro yo kurwase county ya Kisii nigo yekire ase sukuru eyo asumurikito Daniel Ntiri agendete kubwatia roboti oruo asora chikonyora senjera yoboikeranu chikoraga Chinsa ibere nabo igo Chinsa inye chobutuko bwa lero. Abobisa wabacheno abalensi yekiombe kyobacheno asabantu bonsi universal health coverage nigoli tukulia rero bakurubikana hime yo mucho Nairobi kunenchera yemo yo kwemurunganiria hali ya serikali etaranyara kewikirani ukwana chinga kecho nigo barukubuli gocha serikali kweneki buna abobisa bunkuli kobare asomuro biru batambe gose permanent and pensionable abigo kanyora amarupurupu abo
Moncheku Mosiori to release an official memo that confirms that the process has officially begun. Number two, we want an irreducible minimum of PNP that should have started yesterday because it is long overdue. We also want to say that if that process has started, we need an official memo that confirms that the process has begun and that at the end of the contract in April, there is continuity of services because the contract is coming to an end in April. And so far, we only get statements that this process of absorption has begun. But the ministry and the government have not officially communicated, and therefore we demand or we want an official communication to know as to whether, with the timelines, when is this going to be effective. And also they need to confirm to us that the process has begun and therefore services are not going to be interrupted, and therefore the salaries, the ROD, should be changed so that at least these officers who are here are sure of their job. That is why we are here. We also want to say that with immediate effect, like the president gave a statement that the absorption, that there is money, we want to demand from our employer letters that confirms the president's statement, directive. We do not expect that the president gives a directive and some quarters contravene the executive order that came from the president. So we want
Ekeonga kyobachori ne chimbebe IBC ni rigori tukulia lero kyabotukiro roboti igoro yobochoro boke hugorobire gochi okorekana nse chinsemo nabigo bachoro banene umwaka w'ekirubere 2025 mukwana ase chiabisine na Ekeonga kyo hime yo mucho Nairobi munyakirogo gw'Ekeonga kyo Erastus Ethekoni nigo hatebire buna hukonyorwa kwa gochorwa kwa commissioner goswabisi nigo kwarengo muchando munene asibono harireira yogoche kwene kibuna ekiombe kiongo ikeranikere emerobiri elieganeire nigo baigo ekiombe kene kibuna ngechikoligereri chimbebe abune nchere ya moyo kweroberia se obochori bonene umwaka w'ekirubere 2025.
And as you are aware, we have already exceeded the constitutional timelines, which requires us to undertake the boundary delimitation between 8 to 12 years. So the last review was to be completed by March 2024, and those timelines have since passed. So we have outlined some of the constraints that have affected the boundary review process, and that's where we are. Absence of commissioners, as you are aware, after the previous commission left office in 2023 January, the IBC remained without commissioners from that moment up to 11th July 2025, when these new commissioners assumed office, which is barely 6 months ago. And therefore, in the absence of commissioners, the Secretariat alone had to pause some of those activities that required policy decisions and oversight by commissioners. For example, the boundary review operations plan that I've spoken about required the Commission to relook and to review, and in the absence of the commissioners, that policy paper could not have been extended. And of course, there were other activities that required policy directives. So that was one of the main constraints to the timely review of the boundaries, electoral boundaries. Number two, we also had a hurdle in the form of judicial invalidation of the census data of 2019. So there are active cases that have affected the validity of the census data for 14 out of 17 constituencies in the 3 counties of Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. So the 2019 data cannot be used by IBC insofar as that case, that directive of the court is concerned. The Commission needs that data. It needs a valid and legally binding Kenya Housing and Population Census report for it to use that report and that data in determining what is called the population quota.
Warai bunge nene bukora wa hamu no munagiri bunge nene Moses Wetangura nabiga bajumbe nigo baikirana sensema na Naivasha imeye kaunti ya Nakuru urenjereye mo yogo kwanira marangana arengete haigeme yensi ya Kenya neno muchando habana inchi ba wetera kukwana chingeke icho nigo bane kibuna nigo baracho kwanira amanganane anene arengete obochori Abaigo jume aso kweneki kuligereri bare amangana arengete chinsemo chinga kichigensi ya Kenya eroberetie gochikogenda se obochori obonene bumwaka w'ekirubere 2025.
As political activity inevitably intensifies, this retreat offers us an opportunity to pause, reflect, and refocus. It allows us to step away from the politics that now dominate public discourse, and to remind ourselves of our enduring constitutional responsibility of legislation, oversight, and representation of the people of Kenya with dignity and purpose. Honorable members, as we move closer to the election cycle, we must also remain alive to the political environment that naturally accompanies such a period. Experience teaches us that as political temperatures rise, positions harden, and competition intensifies. These dynamics are inevitable in a democratic society, but they must never be allowed to erode the integrity, dignity, and collegiality of this House.
Among the notable bills, honorable members, that the House considered in the previous session and subsequently enacted into law include the Government-Owned Enterprises Bill of 2025 and the Repeal Privatization Act of 2025. As indicated in the program again, this retreat provides us an opportunity to deliberate on utilization of the proceeds arising from the divestiture and to review the status of implementation of these statutes with a keen focus on the National Assembly's legislative and oversight roles. I've listened to those in the executive, and we have heard them commit that none of the money that will be raised out of the privatization process will go, one, into repaying debt, our public debt, two, to settling recurrent expenditure in our country. And it has been said it will not go to pay salaries.
Honorable members, our theme, securing a lasting parliamentary legacy, invites us to go above and beyond retrospection. It calls for honesty, collective planning, and deliberate action. It challenges us to develop practical strategies that will guide our work in the fifth session while laying a firm foundation for institutional transition. Over the coming days, we must interrogate our performance with candor. We must identify gaps, members. We must confront uncomfortable truths and agree on realistic strategies to finish this term strong and deliver meaningful outcomes for our constituents.
That this coming election, not just about the institution, even members, the issue of misinformation and disinformation will actually be a serious part of this next campaign, and regardless of the laws that we have, the damage precedes it.
Waziri Ojenda Hekoro Hamono Mukarirwa Banahan Cheptumo nigo haruro kubolia gocha sabanto bonsi kubwaterana bune nchireyemo yokora hebikorwa bishisegi chegenka nabo igo hokunereriwa ukwana baigo mugaziri yo nigaruro kubolia gocha serikali kubekense mo chibese chiseine bune nchireyemo yogwikirani omurubiri yo asaba gwatani baru kubolia gocha serikali kuigora hebitu bune nchireyemo yogokora hebikorwa ebyo.
The Ministry of Gender, Culture and Children's Services is dedicated to coordinating the implementation of this recommendation in partnership with all state actors and non-state actors. The work of this task force marks not the end, but the beginning of a renewed, resourced and relentless national effort to realize a Kenya where every citizen is safe and has dignity. I thank you, Your Excellency, for your steadfast leadership and your unwavering commitment to the empowerment and the protection of the people of Kenya. The campaign that you spoke about, where we go to every function, whether it is church, whether it is a school, whether it is any function, we will be speaking about it because we need our country to be safe. We need our women and girls to be free. We need our boys and girls to enjoy the leadership of His Excellency the President. I want to agree with you, Chair, that the only way to Singapore is to support the work the President is doing through the building of affordable housing, the markets, but we will not enjoy working in those places unless we do away with GBV and femicide.
We recommend a one-stop GBV recovery center in every of the 47 counties to take care of legal aid, medical care, psychological support, shelter services, etc. Data system, we recommend the creation of a national GBV and a femicide observatory. And we have listed the functions. Data collection is a problem here. We are saying that normalization of this violence is a direct threat to our constitutional promise of the right to life and human dignity. It is a threat to our economy. And Your Excellency, statistics from the National Commission on Gender and Equality
goikiraga bumancho murigeria no ngoja kurira mangana maya Ekeonga Chinsa Ikomi chabo no marago bakorende chikoraga Chinsa ibere ne Chinsa nye chabutuko no chiko yanyora senchira yo goikira no litirani Cyrus Nyakundi asense moye bimenyererio nigalenge fenesa nyabuke na gusubire twaro burigereri borobya.
esukuru ya Kitutu Masaba Technical and Vocational College igego kwarigania ase intake ya January eyu ebwata chikosi ao bunabono Agricultural and Environment Studies, Mechanical and Automotive Engineering, Refrigeration and Air Conditioning, Welding and Fabrication na wigo ase ensema ya Building and Civil Engineering nkwegeli bale Plumbing, Masonry, Carpentry and Joinery, Building Technology, Civil Engineering na wigo Water Engineering ase ensema ya Computing and Informatics nkwegeli bale ICT Operator, ICT Technician, Computer Packages, Cyber Security na wigo na Network System Administration ase ensema ya Electrical and Electronic Engineering nkwegeli bale Electrical Installation na wigo Electrical Engineering ase ensema ya Cosmetology nkwegeli bale Hairdressing wigo mbabwate Fashion Design ase Hospitality and Tourism nkwegeli bale Food Production yani Cookery na wigo Food and Beverage Production wigo mbabwate course ya Driving kuchasi bali bonse baraganye kwegera kugenda Kigali.
Asa Marieta Ngorogu James Barari Nyakundi e principal ya Kitutu Masaba Technical and Vocational College eye gotoka Alimongoni, Kitutu Masaba North Sub-County, Kitutu Masaba Constituency, Nyamira County. Abana baino bali ba college school cha class 8 gose form 4 batagiye universities acha teyo babere isiko ekiagara boniga ase Kitutu Masaba ntobwate chikose zicheme kono cy'ububundi cyonsi. Abana ngwakano bali kibese ne serikali wetera the government scholarship nkwaye bali chiloni cyogo soma wetera help high education loans board ne kibese cy'umwana nkwaye wale kiri tutokoroka out of pocket ekyo umwana gotumia kumenye school ubulendagera na gwakane se nyumba komenya egento kende abana nkwaye bali chi constituency bursaries and even county government bursaries ekyo applications chirororo n'ababunge unabono mu bungo Kitutu Masaba constituency bwana honorable Clive Gisairo we are committed sana aso go support abana bagocha Kitutu Masaba egende Tanganyika tabiringa mwana ndo gwense gocha Kitutu Masaba wekawe bursary in full inta abana baito January nitekinega ndereta abana bali bakoso school January mwakaribishirwe ndogenderete na intake na application tinchigenderete
asamange nabo okubatalira ase school yiga kose obakirisi migwetrasa kinamba cyabo 0743480999 kose 0782490068